Hi again then guys, and so we've got another updated GT6 Le Mans prototype tune for you today, and this time it's for an LMP model. It's for Audi's R8, and this is the silver version with the optional red or yellow detailing. So you want your racing soft tyres. For suspension, very similar to the other updated ones. The rear ride height as low as possible, front 10mm higher, springs on 17. For the dampers you want 1 on compression, 3 on extension, anti-roll on 1, camber and toe neutral. For the gearbox, we have put the auto setting to 280, as you can see, instead of to the maximum. Then for the individual gears we have 3.3, 2, 1.4, 1050, 825 and 675 with a final drive of 3.2. For the diff we've got the low initial torque, of course, high acceleration and low braking. You want your high RPM turbo as always, and of course your downforce set as low as possible. Traction control is turned off as always, and so this is actually more different than the Team Orica version than most people think, or than most people seem to think. I actually am guilty of that as well. I pretty much assumed they were both just different liveries for what was essentially the same car, but that really is not the case, because this version is better in some ways but also inferior in some ways to the Team Orica version. For those who are unfamiliar, the Team Orica version is the more bluish one with the white striping and the PlayStation livery. Now this car is lighter, a lot lighter. It's 50 kilos lighter than the Team Orica version. However, the Team Orica has more power. So, both cars do have their own advantages, and I would say that overall, this car would lend itself more towards being the track car, or the superior track car, whereas the Orica is definitely the superior straight line machine. Now that said, the difference between the cars isn't as much as you might think, considering that one has more power, because even though it does have more power, it also has more weight. And contrary to what some people believe, weight does affect top speed. To say that it doesn't is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, to be honest. So the difference between the two is only around 1 or 2 miles per hour. That said, this has increased from, I can't recall what my existing top speed for this car was. I think it was around 270, 272, something like that. Now it can cruise at 282 under its own power. And being an Audi R8, which is of course a more modern LMP compared to many of the other updated prototypes, it handles really, really well on the curve. It can take the corner at much higher speeds than the other ones can without being anywhere near as twitchy. Now that said, you still need to be careful with it, of course, because you may end up spinning out, because I haven't actually used this one in racing. And due to the fact that it is slightly slower than some others, less people tend to use it as a top speed racer, which is fair enough, I can understand that. The R8, for me personally, has never been one of my favourites. I'm not a huge fan of the way the car looks, and I find cars that always win a little bit boring, to be honest. It gets a bit dull. But we've increased the performance, as with most of these tunes, by around 8 or 10 miles per hour compared to what it was. As far as draft potential, very similar to some of the others. You've got about 400 RPM, maybe a little bit more, of draft potential. So you should be able to slipstream up to, say, 300, maybe a little bit more, but not much more. And as always, if you found this tune helpful, feel free to subscribe. I put out new top speed tunes like this every day, and various other updated Le Mans prototype tunes over the next, say, 2 weeks or so. And that's it for this tune. So thanks for watching.